All right, so I'm going to start out your reading by cleansing the space. I'm going to ding a singing bowl, which will help to cleanse the energy in the space, as well as use Palo Santos to kind of smoke cleanse and to set the intention. Now, forgive me if I butcher your name, but I feel like it's pronounced Elise. So I'm going to do two different spreads here for you. I'm going to first tap in with a general spread, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into the energy, the healing spread. We'll see how much time we have left at the end, and if we have enough time at the end, I'm going to do a moon spread as well. And since the new moon is coming up, we'll look at the new moon energy for you. So most important message here for Elise, Spirit, what does Elise need to know? What's the most important message that she needs to see? Okay, so, and we'll see how this all plays into the reading as we go through, but the underlying energy tells me something here that you're holding on to that really isn't serving your best interest, your highest good, okay? The Seven of Swords is about deception. It's about being deceived, but for some reason, the first thing that comes to my mind is you're in a situation here, Elise, where you're like walking on eggshells and always trying to please the judge. And maybe this is literal, but I feel here that this is causing you a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. I want to see what comes out before I really speak on this. The first thing that comes to my mind is like career, job, work that's really not making you happy. So the energy surrounding you is the Eight of Swords, the Hierophant, the Knight of Wands. The challenge here, the Six of Swords, the Nine of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. And in the outcome, we see the Queen of Cups with the Ten of Pentacles, the Empress energy. Now with these general readings, general personal readings, I pull out the advice and we'll flip this over at the end. This will be the advice guidance to move forward. So this will be the outcome if you end up staying in this energy. And this is why we watch tarot. This is why we get tarot readings, so we can see where we need to adjust or make changes. That way we can clearly move forward. Now, I know that there's a lot of cups that you see on the table, but I honestly feel like this has to do with work more than a relationship. So I'm going to lead with work. I do feel like this is something that you need to free yourself from, okay? So if you stay at this position, you're gonna stay stuck, okay? You're not going to go backwards, but you're really not going to be able to move forward, okay? Now, if this is like maybe in a position of where do I make changes, or where can I next focus my energy, what I would say to that, and that's what this Nine of Cups energy really represents. This is part of the challenge. This is like, what brings you joy? What makes you feel fulfilled? This is a wish fulfillment card. So if everything was exactly how you wanted it to be, what would your life look like? And there are some sacrifices that you're going to need to make once you're in alignment with that Nine of Cups energy. So the energy surrounding you, and I'm going to clarify as we go through this. We have the Eight of Swords, the Hierophant, the Knight of Wands. I feel like you're in like a very high position, or you have a very stable career. Like most people, it's kind of like being a teacher. People think that being a teacher is an outstanding career path. And don't get me wrong, being a teacher takes a special kind of person. But a little bit deeper into the career path of a teacher, they don't really make that much money. And that's why you see all these teachers protesting. I don't know if you're a teacher. I do feel like it's something like that, where the title of the position is something that's very prominent, like a teacher, a judge. I don't know why a judge is coming to my mind, but you're not fulfilled here. This isn't making you happy anymore. Maybe at one point in your life, this was fulfilling you. This was meeting a need. But currently, it's like this isn't doing it anymore. Okay, so let's clarify before we move on. Start with the Ace of Swords, the Hierophant, the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is like indecisive. And the Eight of Swords is like a self-imposed prison. So, and this is a prison that you're trapped in by your thoughts. Okay, so this is what you're thinking, overanalyzing the situation is keeping you stuck. Intuitively, you know this isn't working. I also feel intuitively you know what it is that you want to do. It's just hard to see the path forward. So what most people do when they're planning things out, like for business or long-term investments, and the reason why I use that is because my background is in business administration and accounting. But what I would say is like you get clear on what you want the outcome to be. So what's that bigger picture vision? And if this is like having to change career, it's like starting over fresh. That's scary. It's scary for a lot of people. But when you're passionate about it, it's not so scary once you start heading down that path. And I'm not saying like quit your job tomorrow and run off and follow your dreams by any means. Like we still have to be practical, realistic, logical here. But start thinking in terms of like, what do I want to do? Like what's going to make me feel fulfilled? Don't look at it in terms of title and endearment, because pleasing other people is what keeps us trapped. When we're living out of alignment with our purpose, usually it's because we're living in alignment with other people's purpose. So we have to take a step back and reevaluate. Okay, what is it that Elise wants, right? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years? Like what would truly make you happy? So the Six of Swords, this is part of the challenge. The Six of Swords, the Eight of Cups, it's a lot that you're having to sacrifice. And so that's why I feel like this is like a prominent position. This is something maybe this is like, it's like you have this title and you're held at this high standard, and that's beautiful. Goal fulfilled, mission accomplished, but you're not feeling as happy about that decision as other people are. And that's how you feel out of alignment. I honestly feel you're being called to a more spiritual path. And the spiritual path isn't always easy. For me, for example, I go to events, I connect with people in person. I also have a regular career part-time that I'm still doing. I still do bookkeeping on the side of all of this for other people's businesses while I'm waiting for my business to get to the place where I want it to be. So, am I living in alignment with my purpose? My business is in alignment with my purpose. Bookkeeping, not so much, but it's the stepping stone that's going to get me to where I want to be. Does it make sense? So you don't have to like throw your hands up and give up your whole life. Okay? You can make this adjustment as easy or as difficult as you want it or need it to be. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're not making that decision, this Eight of Cups, it will eventually turn into this Eight of Swords, and then the Nine of Swords, and then the Ten of Swords, Tower energy. So this is why this is being presented at this time. It's time to reevaluate. If this isn't what's making you happy, then yes, there are some sacrifices you're going to need to make. It may seem like you're taking 2 steps back to align yourself with your purpose. Trust the process here. Because right now, on the path that you're headed, you are in a very prominent position, or you are on the path to being this prominent figure in your community. But I do feel like even though the title is there, it's not where you want to be. So let's clarify. 6 of Swords. I hope this is making sense for you. There's a lot of competition. There is a lot of hands in the pot, if you will. You're being pulled in a lot of different directions. It's becoming too much. What I would say to that is start making adjustments now. Start making adjustments to your current position. Like, okay, I need to take 1 day off a week for personal care. Empress energy, for self-care. I need 1 day out of the week for self-care, and then use part of that day to focus on your new career path or business. Because the 10 of Pentacles, the Empress, is business energy. Okay, it's like maybe that's where you're being called, is to like start your own business, right? It's like there's a lot of people that are around you. There's a lot of factors. Okay, but I feel like there's a lot of opinions. And I do feel like it's like you're trying to please other people, and living out of alignment with your purpose is the sacrifice. So the outcome, if you stay in this energy, you'll stay in this prominent position. You'll stay in the position that you're in. You won't go backwards, but you're definitely not going to move forward. This 5 of Cups energy is looking back on this decision with regret. Like, should I made a different decision? I do feel like there are a lot of things that are unknown about the current position that you're in. So, no. It kind of feels like, government or like court processes, paperwork, stuff like that. So, what I would say to that, and being in business, it's like you don't tell the right hand what the left hand is doing sometimes, and that can cause a lot of conflict. Okay? I definitely feel like if you just take a space from the chaos and sit down and think about it and plan it out. And think about it in terms of like, what do I want to do in 5 years and 10 years? Like, where do I see my life in 5 years and 10 years, right? Because 1 year, planning your life in 1 year increments, 1 year goes by way too quickly. You're gonna, if you want to have a bigger picture vision. 5 years, 10 years is being more realistic with yourself. Okay? I definitely feel like you already intuitively know what it is that you want to do. It's just hard to see, like, how can I make money from that? But it is possible. This day and age, especially with technology, it's a lot more possible than a lot of people realize. Okay? So start making space in your life now. So what I would say is, the first step, start creating some space in your current role that will allow you to have these moments of peace, that will also allow you to have these moments of planning without interruption. Once you have this routine of taking space, it's easy to fit that passion into those spaces. Okay? And then it's going to take off from there. Starting with maybe social media, a social media platform, something along those lines. That's going to help you to align yourself with that. Okay? Again, I feel like it's something like more of a spiritual path. The reason why I think that is because the High Priestess is in the reverse. Your purpose here on the planet is more than just signing papers and like practically helping people. I feel like there's more that you have to offer. It's just hard when you're in this current role. So let's pull over the advice, guidance moving forward. And what I will say, when I was clarifying the last set, the Hanged Man was on the bottom of the deck. We have the Hanged Man in the advice. And this is why I pull the advice over at the end. 10 of Cups. Page of Cups, the King of Wands. So there's a change in perspective, a shift in perspective. It's hard. It's hard because we have been ingrained, indoctrined to feel like we need to have this certain position in life to be accepted. Trust me, I get it. Like, I have a 4-year degree. I have a bachelor's in accounting that I barely use because it's not in alignment with my purpose. And the reason why I got that degree is because I was trying to live up to a standard and have a title that I felt would please other people, not even thinking about myself at that time. And so I completely empathize with you. We get ourselves stuck in these positions trying to please other people. The change that I feel like in perspective that is needing to be made is, it's okay to be in alignment with your purpose and not have this prominent standing position. So it's okay to be an artist and still have part-time being something else, or maybe even just diving fully into art, finding your niche. Now, I'm not saying that maybe that is an alignment. That's why that's coming out. But I do feel right now, the moon energy, things are still being hidden because it's like you don't have time. You need a little bit of time and a little bit of space with yourself. That's going to be the first step. Okay? I honestly just feel like this chaotic energy of running and ripping and running and going and doing things for other people. Okay? Side note, I'm not sure if you're romantically involved or if you're not, if you're single. But I do feel like there is a person that is around you that is romantically interested in you, that is about to reach out. And I honestly feel like you're in this energy of, I'm too busy for this. So don't feel bad to say that. Okay? It's important to speak your truth. And speak it right when you feel it. Don't hold it back. So if this person comes forward and is like, hey, want to go on a date? and you don't have time, don't brush this person off like, I don't have time, I can't have dates. I would recommend just saying, like, I don't have the time right now. I'd love to go on a date, but I just don't really have a lot of extra free time. I'm trying my hardest right now to get some free space, some personal time, and would love to go on a date then if that's something you're interested in. I do feel like this is someone that you're currently friends with. So it may be that they're trying to kind of get you out of this role and into your heart. Don't be afraid to go out and do personal things, okay? It's just a lot of energy, a lot of focus on pleasing other people. And I feel like that's where this shift in perspective needs to take place. It's time to bring it back. It's time to bring it back to Elise. So, I'm going to clear the board. Let's pull a healing. We'll pull the soul truth message before we get into the healing spread, because I'm going to do a healing spread for you. Am I consistently showing up? Some trade their dream for comfort, yet comfort is the enemy of progress. Success requires showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it feels uncomfortable. It takes guts and an endless vision to stay consistent to your dream. Today's soul action journal where you can be more consistent in your life, in alignment with your soulful goal, and then show up. Beautiful, beautiful. Definitely in alignment with the reading for sure. It's time to get clear. Here's the thing. When we know what it is that we want our life to look like, that bigger picture vision, it's so much easier to see who, what, how things are in alignment with that. It's also easier to see things that aren't in alignment with that. And it makes it easier to advocate for ourselves through our life by being clear on that bigger picture vision. And sometimes the vision might change, right? Sometimes we might change our goals, change our career paths, change our dreams, and that's fine. And that's when you would realign yourself with your goal, with your dream. Definitely feel like this is weighing heavy on your mind because there's a lot of sword energy. But I do feel like you have what it takes to get yourself out of this. It's just going to take some time. Okay? So, let's do the healing spread. So in this message, I'll look at past, present, future for you. And then we'll look at what you're working through releasing at this time. How, once this is released, what shift will take place in your energy field. We'll look at where should you focus your energy and attention next, and anything that's hidden that you need to be made aware of. I'll clarify, I'll pull a few cards out for advice. Most important message for Elise. Spirit, what does Elise need to see here? Please and thank you. Right off the bat, Elise, the first thing that comes to my mind is there are blockages within your mind, within your energetic field in regards to money. And even though you do put in a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, there's something here in your mind about money that's keeping you stagnant. Now we'll get into all of that. First, I'm going to talk about your past, your present, and your future a little bit. So in the past, there was a lot of control in regards to finances. It's like, and maybe this was because, you know, middle class families, it's difficult, it's rough. I do feel like you seen hard work, dedication, and you did get that from the people you grew up with, okay, your family. But I also feel that there was like restriction on money. Like, we can't spend because we have this, or we can't do this because we have to do this. And even though I feel like right now, and maybe sometimes you are, but I feel like for the most part you try not to be like that, that is still affecting your current status. I feel like this is something that you're already aware of, but maybe don't really know how to change. Like, how do you change a belief system, right? Well, I will say that being aware that this is hindering your growth is the first step, okay? So being aware that in the past, the outlook on money was restrictive for a good reason, right? But now things are different, and maybe I still kind of hold on to that. Maybe still want to save, or still like saving for a rainy day, or what if something bad happens. Being an accountant, people that have a lot of money, they actually borrow money to make more money. They don't look at it as a bad thing. They don't look at loans or borrowing money to get to another position in life. They don't look at that as a bad thing. If it's borrowing, if it's called a positive loan, or it's like positive debt, when you're putting yourself into debt, but it's for a positive reason, then it's a positive debt. I hope that's making sense. What I will say, the reason why this is coming up is because if you are getting ready to start your own business and on the fence about that, that could be an avenue that is open to you, but because in your mind you have this negative connotation of debt, you're not proceeding that way, right? You're making the struggle a little bit more difficult, which is fine. But understanding that if you have the appropriate business plan, you can get financing for a business. Currently, Knight of Swords. I feel like this is an internal battle with yourself, because it's like you beat yourself up because of the unknown. Don't do that, because abuse is abuse. Whether it's your abuse on yourself, or a person abusing you, verbally talking down to yourself and beating yourself up over things that you can't control will only make it worse. And so here's what I do, because I have a tendency, I'm like my biggest critic. If I notice myself talking to myself negatively, as soon as I notice myself talking to myself negatively, I try to switch it. So I'll say something like, okay, there's that, but I'm doing X, Y, and Z to help myself get out of that position, or here's the positive things that are going on in my life, to kind of add that positive side to it. Again, I feel like you have everything you need to make the changes that you need to make, but it's scary. And so fear is the biggest blockage in life. Like, being fear is going to stop you from doing everything if you're afraid, or if you lean into that fear. So just trying to understand that there's going to be a little bit of fear with any change, and pushing through that fear is what's going to be important here. Please clarify the Knight of Swords for Elise. Please and thank you. Running out of patience. And when we feel this way, this Temperance in the reverse, when we feel like we're running out of time, running out of patience, we don't have enough money, in this, it's called a lack mentality. One thing I would recommend doing, okay? One thing that is going to help you specifically, Elise, get out of this mentality. Have 30 days, okay? Let's take a 30-day period, 30-day challenge. And I want you to write down every single day for those 30 days, 3 positive things that happened to you the day before. So, and you can even do this at nighttime before you go to bed. 3 positive things that happened to you that day, and write them down. And just do that for 30 days. And see how you feel after that. And don't be afraid. If this is like, I have to get a certain type of position in order to take certain steps to be where I want to be, look at it as a stepping stone. Don't look at it as like, oh, I aspired to be a sales associate my whole life. You don't have to look at it like that. Look at it like, this is a stepping stone that's going to get me into the position where I want to be next in life. I do feel like there is a lot to come in your future. You have to get clear on what you want the outcome to be. You have to plan it out. Like, most people that don't make a plan don't. Just stay wherever they are, doing whatever they're doing, comfortable, of course, but never stepping out of their comfort zone. Okay? There's a lot of positive things that are coming in your future. I know the Tower is coming out as clarifying the strength. There's a lot of positive things that are coming in your future, and I feel like it is going to shock you to even think about. It's something that you probably couldn't even fathom right now, because you're feeling trapped and stuck, like you're having to please other people. It's time to let that go. I honestly feel like the biggest barrier in your life, and this is true for everybody, but what's coming out in your reading, Elise, is your thought process and how you're perceiving things right now in life is really what your biggest barrier is. You have all the tools that you need. You have exactly what you need to make the next move and to even get into that. Here's the thing. If you're in a position where maybe they don't offer part-time or they don't allow you to have days off, maybe that means taking a smaller position somewhere else so you can free up some time to be able to do other things. It's okay. You don't have to lean so deeply into, I have to have a prominent career and be this prominent figure in society to make everyone happy. Because in reality, at least, the only person that really needs to be happy is you in your world. We're going to dive deeper into this energy. This is a healing spread. So we're going to look at what needs to be released here. For release in this energy. What needs to be released at this time? Four of Pentacles. 10 of Swords in the reverse. 7 of Swords. Okay. Okay. It's definitely the lack mentality. So I'm going to recommend a few personal life coaches, personal development coaches that I actually personally follow. And I will link them below in the comment section of this video. And this is going to be unlisted, so it's just going to be for you. But in the comment section of the video, I'll list Christina Lopez. She is kind of a psychic medium, but she does a lot of personal development, lifting your vibration, changing your thought pattern, things like that. And then Abram Hicks, which it may be somebody that you've already heard of. But these are all about like shifting your belief patterns from that lack mentality, that negative mindset, to transmuting that to more positive. Okay, because I can sit here and tell you what works for me, but those are the people that I watch. So when I get in this funk where I'm doubting everything possible that I want to do in my life, I go watch motivation videos. Everybody needs motivation at some point in their life. Everybody has a person that they look to when they're trying to tap into that higher sense of self to get that guidance, to get that clarity. The journaling activity, where what I said for 30 days, do the gratitude journaling activity where you write down 3 things that you're grateful for from the day before or that day, whenever you choose to do the journaling activity. That's definitely something that helped shift that mindset. But sometimes we just get in a funk. And sometimes what this is telling me is whatever you experienced in your past, the people that you were growing up around, it was very traumatizing for you to experience that. Okay? And that's not going to happen again. You don't have to worry. You don't have to live in fear that you're going to go through that experience again, because even if something similar were to happen, you're not going through it again like you did before. You're going through it with experience. What needs to shift? There may be some people that you're currently entangled with that still have this belief system, okay? And maybe it's family, right? Especially when we've grown up in this dynamic. A lot of times our siblings, our parents, maybe our nieces and nephews all have this mentality. So I'm not saying cut off everybody out of your life that thinks like this, but for the time being, while you're trying to actively change yourself and get in a routine of thinking through things more positively, you might need to take some space from those people that are causing conflict. Here's what I will say for myself. When I started going through this journey of changing my mindset, my thinking from being like that lack mentality to trying to be more positive and thinking about things glass half full, the brighter side, that type of energy, my mom, my brother, my sister would not, like, anytime I would try to have the like, oh, but it's okay, or everything happens for a reason, or try to just bring light to the situation, they would quickly shoot me down. And it was hard to heal myself while still being entangled with those people. So for the time being, I recommend, while you're trying to change your mentality, just limit having those types of conversations with these people. There's a lot of information, a lot of research out there about looking at things with this pessimistic mentality. But I will say that it can be changed. Your mindset can change. You can shift your mindset. And it's not going to take forever. It's only going to take a couple months. So don't think, oh, I have to distance myself from all these people for years. No, not really. But 6 months is a good amount of time for you to get into that routine, that habit of looking at things glass half full, and also holding back sharing some of those experiences. Okay. Where should Elise focus her energy next? Please and thank you, Spirit. This is the 9 of Cups. And it came out in the reverse, but I'm going to flip it over and be upright, because this is definitely something that we talked about in the last spread. You have to get clear on what's going to make you feel fulfilled. Don't think about money. Don't think about, if money wasn't an object, okay? If you didn't have to think about money, let's say everything was taken care of, like you were a trust fund baby. And this is just, it's actually manifestation 101, but let's just entertain me for a little bit. Okay. What if money wasn't an object? What would you do with your life then? If money didn't matter, what would it be that you would want to invest your time, attention, and energy into? That's how you're going to find what's going to fulfill you. Is when money isn't an object, when you could do it without, of course, you're going to want to be, it's an energetic exchange. Like, you're going to want to receive something for the energy that you give. But if money wasn't an object and money didn't matter, what would you want to do? Let's look at anything that's hidden that you need to be made aware of. Emperor. So the Emperor a lot of times represents fatherly energy, especially in my readings and especially when we're doing these healing spreads. Five of Cups is looking back on the past. Regret, resentment. A lot of times, especially with this Five of Swords energy, the energy that I'm picking up from this is like when you start going through this change, before everything comes to fruition, when you're still in limbo from walking on eggshells to living more freely, there are going to be people that are around you, and it's not going to be intentional. It's not like they're going to see you lifting your vibration and want to bring you back down, but it's that fear mentality. They're afraid of change, and when they see you changing and they're not understanding of that change, they may have a tendency to lash out. You're not going to be able to empathize your way through this reaction. You're just going to have to let this person have their space for them to work it out personally. The first thing that comes to my mind is a father or a fatherly figure. And understand that it'll be okay. Everything is going to be okay with this person. But they may need a little space when you start making this change, when you start making this transition. So let's pull the advice, guidance moving forward. Three of Cups, Judgment, Four of Swords, Nine of Swords. Okay. The Two of Wands is on the bottom of the deck. So definitely sit down. Like I said, the first step is going to be making space in your life to come up with this plan. Because right now I feel like you're so preoccupied with other people's nonsense that you don't have time to think about what's best for yourself. Okay? So take some space, even if it's just a couple hours, a couple days in a week, and sit down and really think about it. Think about your life in terms of, if money wasn't an object, what would you want to do? So get clear on what that is. And then how can you build up to that? What steps do you need to take to get to that outcome? Without money being an object, okay? We'll factor in the money part later when the practical things come into play. Right now, I want you to kind of play with your mind, manifest a little bit. Think about, if money wasn't an object, what would you want to do? What would your life look like? Play around with it a little bit. Fantasize. It's okay. It's okay to fantasize. And then after you play around and fantasize a little bit, then you're going to bring it back to that practical side, okay? To accomplish those things realistically, how long would it take in your mind, right? And what steps do you need to take to get to that outcome? Are there a little bit more practical things that you may have in mind as a stepping stone to get you to that bigger picture vision? It's all going to matter. But you start with kind of playing with your mind. And yes, it does seem a little daydreamy, like a fantasy, but understand that that's just the programming that we have in our brain. Right now, it's like you're breaking the code. You're breaking the programming. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay? It takes time. It takes a lot of energy. It definitely takes consistency. So when you're feeling like, oh, things aren't coming together like I want them to come together, lean into the routine. Happiness. I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. Before incarnating, your soul created a blueprint for you to follow in this physical dimension. The easiest way to chart this path is to follow your bliss. Life is full of choices and opportunities. Spirit, in its infinite wisdom, has given you the emotion of happiness to guide you. The signposts are always there, but you have to acknowledge them and have the courage to follow. As you view this card, do you feel that you are living a life of happiness? In what area is it lacking? It may be time to be truthful with your soul self. Listen to its language and intuit if there is someone or a scenario holding you back from experiencing complete happiness. Even though it may be painful to admit, you need to be completely truthful. Be mindful of how happiness will affect every aspect of your life on your path. Also intuit if there is someone else in your life who needs to be brought to this awareness. This is important to recognize as well. Others will want to learn from you, and whether you admit it or not, you can be their teacher. When you're filled with love and compassion, not only do you bring happiness into your own life, but you lead others by example. Time to be the light. So, Elise, I do feel like that is a good solid message coming out, a lot of information, but there are still about 10 minutes left. And also, because we've done a reading before, you are considered a personal client. So if you have any questions, if you want any confirmation on anything, feel free to reach out. Feel free to ask questions. If you feel like this message was helpful, if it's resonating, it would be so helpful if you would on Facebook or Google and shared your experience with a review. And I will also look forward to reading your cards again soon. Namaste.